James here from the Gator Nation Football Podcast, bringing you a film breakdown of Florida's offense versus LSU. Without a doubt, this will be the most frustrating and difficult film study of the season. It also was one of the most embarrassing and disappointing losses in Florida's modern history. As always, if you like this content, like this video, sub to the channel, check us out on social media, drop us a dono on Patreon, and check out the pod each and every week, where on Mondays we bring you in-depth analysis of the Florida Gators, the good, the bad, and the ugly. Let's take a look at Florida's offense. We'll start by looking at the first play, as the first play gives you a nice indication of how LSU wants to defend Florida. Since I do not have the All-22 to show you, and this is where the All-22 is extremely beneficial, but you're going to take my word for it on a lot of these plays today that I cannot demonstrate, and I will draw the routes for you, and I will show you what happens that you cannot see off screen, because that's going to be very, very important for as to why Florida struggled. So obviously in football, you can only send 5 guys out. That's the max number of guys that the offense can send out for a pass. On defense, you could defend as many as you actually wanted, but teams like LSU are going to be defending at least 7 on almost every play. That obviously gives you a +2 advantage. It's very, very hard to consistently pass into 7 and 8-man passing defenses, especially when they are building game plans each and every week with teams trying new techniques, new strategies. If you've watched each video, really starting with Arkansas, you've seen how opposing defenses have begun to hone in on stopping the routes that Florida wants to run the most, and then Florida has played into their hands depending on play design and play calling that has affected Florida's production. LSU no different. We fully expected them to take Tennessee's game plan, mix some of that aggression Tennessee used, a 4-man front Tennessee used, to try to apply a little bit of pressure on Trask at times, while mainly making sure they maintained at least a +2 advantage in the pass game, primarily because playing Florida with anything less than that is definitely not a great idea defensively. And right off the gate, this is what will happen. You're going to get bracket coverage on Copeland's corner route here. With these two, you're going to flow out to the linebacker one-on-one here. You're going to get bracket coverage on the deep route here with these, and you're going to get man-to-man on Tony when he runs an out route. So you're going to have 2 high, 2 safeties high, cover 2 man, essentially. That's what you're going to get. LSU is going to wind up playing a lot of that. It's something we expected teams to do against Florida. What's changed, and what you'll see in this film study, is earlier in the season, Florida was more effective running against 6-man fronts. This is a 6-man front. Florida has become less and less effective running the ball against 6-man fronts, largely because teams are doing a much better job anticipating when Florida is going to run and pass and putting their conflict defenders in optimal situations. Now, lastly, before we begin, so I don't have to constantly repeat the same kind of things on this breakdown today, LSU also took the strategy that Kentucky started first, which was really primarily to make sure that they defended the inside almost at all costs. Now, Tennessee mixed it up a little bit more than LSU did. LSU followed the more standard strategy of really denying inside breaking routes for Florida on most occasions, forcing Florida to throw places they don't tend to want to throw. Florida rarely tends to connect on out routes. It's not a pattern that seems to be happening often. Teams have taken notice of this, and they are overplaying all the routes to this part of the field, and they're forcing Florida either to take deep shots here, which they are then helping with safeties, or to attempt to take checkdowns with the running backs, which teams are better and better at covering now as well. So the windows are getting smaller for Florida, and on this first play that I've spent a lot of time setting up, you're not going to get to see a whole lot other than me telling you nobody is even remotely open. So we have good protection up front. We've won here at the point of attack. DeLance is going to lose his man, but plenty of time here before that happens, and we're going to take this pass there. There was no good pass to be had at all on that play. Keep that in mind. Trask definitely struggled in this football game. Florida's receivers were not often open, not a lot of separation, and again, not entirely their fault. It's very difficult to consistently go up against a front that is not only +2 defenders, but is also well-schooled and well-prepared for what you're going to do. With all that being said, Florida's still almost through for nearly 500 yards, so keep that in mind. Same drive here for Florida. Here's a good look at how LSU defended Florida for much of the game. Florida with 3 receivers up top, LSU countering with 4 defenders. They put their conflict defender in the best place possible, which is going to be just inside of the slot, which in this case is Tony. That allows him to help on the run, but it also allows him to defend any in-breaking route. And again, that's primarily what teams are doing against Florida. Also, Florida's had a lot of success on the weak side of the field. LSU made sure they always had 3 defenders here as well instead of just 2, and they were going to actually double. Again, they were going to double, in this case, the running back. So wheel routes have been a problem. Rather than leave their linebacker man-to-man, something Florida likes, they actually occasionally, and on this play they did this, they used their safety to double the wheel, and they took their chances because this is not Kyle Pitts, it's Kamori Gamble. Of course, they couldn't have known that. That was probably their game plan coming in anyway. Once Pitts didn't play, then they definitely locked up one-on-one here, and they doubled Tony. So if Tony runs an in-breaking route, which he runs, he gets bracketed, then these two are going to play one-on-one over here. On this particular play, they're going to pattern match. They're going to pattern match where you're going to wind up getting a go route here that then becomes a little post, and then you're going to get a dig. Now, you're not going to see this on your screen, but that's what happens. The best route that could have been thrown here would have absolutely been a post route from Copeland, who's going to come up here and run a post route. That would have been the best route for Trask to hit. He does not look at it. He's going to take the snap. He's going to look to his left. The wheel is going to be doubled to safety, but you can't see he's behind waiting for it. Gamble's taken out here. Tony doubled as well. And right now you'll see on your screen, there's double here. This is the best pass. He has leverage. They actually pattern matched over here. It was a slow switch with the outside leverage defender. Plenty of space here to throw this ball. Trask doesn't see it, doesn't look for it. Now, I think a lot of this has to do with how much longer that route has to take to develop. Florida typically has not had a lot of time all season long. Other teams recognize this, and again, that's the job of defenses throughout the season. Find out what offenses are struggling to do. Although there are openings, the openings are much different than what Florida has had before. And against a team like LSU that plays a lot of man, those windows are smaller. So even though Copeland does wind up winning this battle, and there is a window here, he certainly was not wide open. But this throw, very difficult throw. He almost does fit this in. But as you can see, there's no real option here on your screen. We're doubled, we're here. The best throw was this deep post, which in previous iterations of previous football games, we would not have had a lot of time to throw a post that's breaking 17, 18 yards down the field consistently. Trask gets rid of the ball on time, so to speak, but really should have immediately read this side of the field. And right off the snap, should have seen that he has 3 versus 2 over here. That's a no-go. Seen immediately Tony's doubled. That's a no-go. Then he's got to come to his matchups here, which are 2-on-2. Doesn't happen on this play. Again, it's early in the game. Part of being early in a football game is figuring out what teams are doing to you. So while we're going to look for the best pass on each play, you also have to keep that in mind. You have to figure out how a team is defending you before you can get through all your reads confidently and quickly, but that is what LSU is doing early. And again, keep in mind, really most important thing to keep in mind as we build out this film study is that LSU was consistently doing this, consistently making sure they were 4-on-3 and 3-on-2. That was their primary game plan all day long, and they executed it almost consistently with every passing play that Florida had. It's 3rd and goal for Florida on this first drive still. LSU, again, daring Florida to run. Take a look at this. We're on the 3-yard line. It's 3rd and goal. 3 receivers, 4 defenders. 1 receiver, a defender here who can help on the slant if need be. 2 defenders. Running back in the backfield. They basically have 5 guys in the box on the 3-yard line versus 5 offensive linemen. Hat-on-hat football. If Florida cannot run the ball hat-on-hat, it's very, very hard to win football games. Now, against an overmatched team like LSU that was playing a bunch of backups on both sides of the ball, this should not have been a problem, which is why this game was such an embarrassing defeat for Florida. But in general, you have to be able to win this battle, even against a good team, at least half the time. Florida's been struggling to do that on this play here. Florida's going to call a curious play call. And this is something I've seen Florida do and noted last week. Obviously, this week it shows up yet again. And this is very hard for me to understand. Florida has essentially reduced its number of play action or play fakes significantly in the past couple of weeks. And it just doesn't make any sense because it guarantees that Florida is rather one-dimensional. And since Kyle Trask is not going to be running the ball 20 times a game, Teams are then able to more confidently load up on the pass, as you see LSU do here. And because they're expecting pass, it does not put their linebacker in conflict. He's not going to have to come down and wait and make a decision. You will also see that all throughout this film study. To me, that is one of the most curious developments with Florida's offense, is the lack of keeping a running back here, the lack of play fakes when they are back there, and Florida sort of just turning into a team that's going to send 5 guys out, but not give the linebackers anything to look at. Again, that to me is very suboptimal. Not sure why it's happening, but it has been showing up. It shows up here. So it's 3rd and goal. Here comes a fake run. This is the idea, right? I set this up to show you this is the fake run. Let's put the linebacker in conflict so that we can throw the slant route. But again, this to me is just being too cute for the sake of being cute. Because we do this, he's going to be unblocked by design. He's the worst person who would obviously tackle Trask in the event that we're going to try to run the ball in here, right? You can see the double team is here. So he's right in the throw window for the slant. To me, you don't need that. There's a million other ways they could have grabbed this. There's a million things they could have done. In fact, in all likelihood, if they simply run a play fake here, in all likelihood, both of these linebackers will react to that, right? And if they don't, then Florida knows for sure that LSU is so overplaying the pass that they're going to need to just be able to win running the ball, in which case you then can use a keeper with Trask, an extra blocker here. There's other things you can do to motion out and go 4, as we do here, to create an ISO over here. And why does he fake the run? Because Florida is appropriately concerned that he'll just slide into the slant window. Florida's counter, again, I think is overly cute and unnecessary. And it allows for this to happen. Not a really good throwing window there. Ball gets batted down. We head to 4th down. 4th down and goal for Florida. This play call, also curious. We've seen in previous weeks how Florida would use Tony. Florida would use Tony as a motion man to see if they were going to play man on him, and if he was, they could wiggle around and get him one-on-one. That's a good play call. We've watched them motion out 2 players here where they can screen for each other. That's a good play call. You can run slant pops here. There's a lot of things you can do to be more dynamic than what Florida does here. Florida is not a power football team. Florida has not been successful doing this all year long. LSU, although obviously struggling significantly, still has a defensive line that can play. This is still a SEC caliber defensive line. Florida's basically going to line up here and suggest that we're going to play some power football. We're going to motion Grimes across the formation, which of course LSU does not care about because all they're going to do is have their free defenders step out here to make the tackle. This is simple. It's good execution by LSU, and they're ready for the run. Again, look, everyone is here on the run. This play instead, and this is why I want to show you this play instead, same concept. You know LSU wants to play a lot of man. This play by Tony, you could have run as a pick route instead, play faked and hit Grimes. That could have happened on the previous play. Just a lot of things that to me became overly simple. Again, teams that want to play a lot of man, you need to be running a lot of rub routes, a lot of pre-snap motion, confirm whether they're in man and zone, see if someone's chasing, if they're switching. For Florida to line up here in a bunch tight set in this situation, this close to the goal line on 4th and goal, to run a power inside handoff like this, it's just not in Florida's character as a team this year. And again, we can use football cliches like you should be able to get that, but the reality is Florida's team has not been successful at getting this. Don't like the design, don't like the call. Regardless, LSU wins the battle at the line of scrimmage, and Florida gets denied rather easily. It's 1st and 10 for Florida. We talked earlier in the broadcast here about 6 in the box. There it is. Something Florida needs to win. Now we can see already LSU, 2 defenders here, 3 defenders here, +1, right? That's what they're going to do. That is their base plan of attack. They are now confirming it for us on Florida's second drive. This is what LSU is committed to doing. So properly, Florida is going to attack this 6-man box, and here we're going to get a play fake. Now, obviously, we're going to hand the ball off, but this, in my opinion, should have been happening all the time. You could have been faking a handoff every single play, causing conflict with these linebackers, in which case Florida didn't. But on this one, Florida here, 2, 4, 5, 6. So we have 6 versus 6, hat on hat football. Again, Trask being a +1 in Dan Mullen's system, not used as often for that. But at 6-on-6, you need to be able to win. Again, at least half the time 6-on-6, you need to be able to win. gaining 3+ yards, sometimes gaining big plays. This is a nice and well-designed counter from Florida, which is going to trap. You can see this here. We're going to trap their edge defender. And then Malik Davis is going to take it for big yards. This should have happened a lot more against LSU in this game. LSU was constantly playing +2 in the pass game. Florida needed to have more runs like these, although they did have quite a few chunk yards. Again, just not quite enough. Nice play design here. Nice play by Florida early on. It's 2nd and goal for Florida. You can see what LSU is telling you. We are not going to let you throw this slant. We've seen you throw this slant a million times on film. We're actually going to put a defender out here in the slant window, and we're going to play outside leverage here to stop any out route, and we're going to double team this route. That's route defense. In this case, Florida then here, right? It's going to bunch 2 receivers, which LSU is still going to align 3 over them. LSU is essentially begging Florida to run the football right now. Please run the football. We bet that you won't do it, and they are in fact correct. Florida's going to fake this run. Now we can see here that Florida definitely wins at the line of scrimmage. They win. This is going to be a touchdown, although he would not keep pushing. He would see this. This is almost certainly going to wind up being a touchdown for Florida. He's going to be in that hole together one-on-one. Instead, we're going to try to throw a pass here against the grain. Now Shorter's going to unfortunately get taken down. He's going to unfortunately get taken down running, you guessed it, a slant route, something LSU, again, is waiting for. Take a look. They're ready for this. Physical, what you can do, right? You can be physical within 5 yards here. It's a good play. Pump it out. It's not there. Not there. We're wasting a play. Again, this is a situation where the formation for Florida, unlike the previous play, is much better. Now that they have to guard this slant, you're in good shape. I would like to see Florida motion Shorter out to the same thing over here and see what LSU does, right? If they motion Shorter out here, you force the defender to come out there. Now what does he do? Perhaps you create even more space. Florida neglects to do that. They keep this tight. This handoff still is a very, very good look when LSU is going to be doing this. Florida doesn't do it, and Florida gets stopped. 3rd down and 1 for Florida. Florida again going to line up here in a bunch set, which they've been successful in before. Now LSU on this play is expecting run. How do we know that? Although they're going to keep some guys back deep here as a valve in case this bunch set releases, and they're going to take first in. They might assign it to where he's going to take the first in-breaking receiver. He might take any flat receiver, and he'll take anyone that verticals to the outside. Let's not worry about that for now because this is going to be a running play from Tony. But what matters to us is LSU with 5 here, 6, 7, 8, and 9. 9 players in the box. 9 players in the box. Florida's going to motion. And a motion Grimes across out here. So effectively, we're going to remove 1 from this. So now it's going to be 8 in the box for LSU. And Florida is effectively, and this is what matters when you're looking at these plays, Florida effectively is going to have, not going to matter for Grimes, we're not going out there, 11, 10, 9, 8 with the ball carrier, 7. So Florida is now playing 7 versus 8. So we're down a man in the run game. Again, we struggle to run after you couldn't run on this play, but obviously Florida struggling to run, especially with the numbers. LSU correctly diagnosing the play that is coming here. They're getting what they expect and what they want. And it's also likely here that this play does not go to the right area. Based upon the blocking, especially from the end zone camera, it certainly looks like this play is supposed to come here. It's supposed to come here inside the guard, not as an off tackle. However, Tony's going to wind up taking this to an off tackle spot, which you have the unblocked defender for LSU simply waiting. Again, there he is. He's unblocked by design. Reese, from what it looks like, again, it could be that Reese is supposed to be out here, then he becomes your unblocked defender. But watching this a million times, it looks like this is supposed to be the hole, especially with how the initial offensive line works. Tony almost looks like for a second he's going to take that hole, decides not to do it. And again, we have the unblocked defender here. But what's really happening is LSU is ready for the play Florida wants to run. And you can see that there. One more time. You can see this here. And again, there's a lot of things Florida could have done off this. Take a look at the pre-snap shift from LSU. Florida has numbers to the weak side. We've seen Florida run to the weak side before. In fact, it's something Dan Mullen likes. Yet, in this case, they choose to run a play here to the field side. And, it doesn't work out. Questionable call to give the ball to Tony on 3rd and 1, especially when you have a guy like Pierce, who by far leads the team in breaking tackles. Seems overly cute. Something, again, Florida was guilty of, especially to give the ball to Tony here when you are 7 versus 8. Seems to be even worse. 2nd and 9 for Florida. We now have what I'm going to call the Allen Williams offensive lineup in. Something we talked about the podcast starting in the middle of last year. Stone Forsythe moves from left tackle to right tackle. Guraj moves from left guard to left tackle. You have Ethan White in the game at left guard, Heggie at center, and at right guard you still have Reese. We thought this was one of the lineups Florida should have been playing with much earlier, and we felt like Florida wasted time getting this lineup out there. It seemed in this game that DeLance went out of the game because of an injury, not necessarily because they benched him. That seems like what Florida must do to change personnel, is you have to actually be physically unable to play rather than just struggling at your position. Either way, this lineup now comes into play. Here it is. It's 2nd down and 9, and take a look at what LSU is expecting. So again, 4 versus 3, 2 versus 1, and potentially 3 versus 2 if it turns into that. And they only have a 5-man box. So we're 5-on-5. We're hat-on-hat football. Conflict defender here. Take a look. Positioned inside. Why is this? Well, because with 4 versus 3, they can do a lot of things to deny far side of the field out routes. It's a long throw. It's a difficult and dangerous throw. So teams have really figured out proper pre-snap formations to counter what Florida wants to do. But Florida needs to be able to run hat on hat. So one way to make this happen is to have the conflict defender here turn his head. Take a look. He's looking for run. Doesn't see it. He is now out of the play. He's gone. You can't defend what you can't see. So we're 5-on-5. There we go. Delayed handoff. All we have to do now is beat him. And we're in good shape. And there it is. Nice block by Reese. Huge gain from Malik Davis. Again, in my opinion, Florida should have been able to design more plays to attack LSU in a scenario like this. This is quality blocking by Florida on the delay. Notice how we're steering these two to the outside. We're going to let the rush edge come up the field speed-wise. Ethan White's going to take care of his man. That allows Reese to slide out here. This is good blocking, good execution for a huge gain for Florida. Now, we've mentioned on previous film breakdowns, and especially in the podcast, that Trask did struggle last game to make proper pre-snap reads, which was really, really unusual for him, and you're going to see him struggle again here. So pre-snap, we have 3 versus 3. One of the few times LSU gave Florida this. This is an obvious and guaranteed look to this side for Trask if we're passing. This has got to be where you're going, especially because over here, we're 2-on-1. We're 2-on-1. You've got to be thinking check here first. Your route combination here, based upon this setup, is also pretty good. You've got Xavier Henderson running a go route, which is really nice, given that if you can confirm pre-snap that this is the safety, this safety cannot get to an outside breaking go route. That is exactly what you want to see in this situation. Now, again, there's other ways to attack this formation, but this would be a route pre-snap that you'd be liking and wanting to look at. Trask is going to take the snap first. He's going to look here. He's going to look here. And again, he's looking there for a long time. No need to look off that safety that long. Trask does a remarkably good job of looking off safeties. So typically this is not what you're finding. Right? We're going to nitpick what's going on here. LSU is going to bring a blitz. They're going to bring bringing a double A gap pressure here, which is something Tennessee did a lot of, had a lot of success with. So it's showing you LSU is taking some ideas. Florida, although they have a nice soft cushion here, is electing to actually run a slant and go right into the defender. So this is dead, nothing to go with here. Xavier Henderson is going to beat his man and actually release free. You're going to see him go here. Now you can't tell at this point what's happening. Trask snaps his head around. Let's look. Safety looks. He is already deciding that he's going to take this hitch route to Grimes. And you can tell this because look at his eyes. He's opening, he's just going there. That's what he's doing. He's not actually reading the release here. He's decided pre-snap that he thinks he's bailing. He thinks he's got a hitch here, and he's going there. Takes the snap, looks over there, comes around, pumps it. Why does he pump it? Take a look. There he is. Hard crashing LSU defender. Proper way to defend this. He's surprised by it, and he throws it away. So a nice throwaway. One of the things we talk about with Trask is he does a good job of maximizing bad plays as far as not hurting him. But one more time, pre-snap. something Trask has been struggling with early is if, and this is important, if this is 3-on-3, this safety does not matter. Doesn't matter. In fact, you don't even need to look that safety off if you think you want to go to this route, right? There's no reason to it. That doesn't even matter. What you got to do to make this route happen is you have to sell this guy that you have something deep, and you need to figure out what's going on here. Are they pattern matching? Is he going to flow out here to the out route and then pass this go route off to him? You have to read that part of the field. You have to read to see what kind of zone they're playing. A free safety this far away is going to rotate to the high side. Theoretically, should never get to your go route in the time it takes you to read it. Okay, now if you want to be perfect, what you would do is you would take the snap like he does. You look at him for just a second, just to freeze him, just a second, and right now his head should already be here. His head should already be here. He needs to read this window to see how LSU is defending this. If he does this, then right now he's going to see that this corner is flat-footed. Because that corner is flat-footed, he's going to see that he's got his receiver even and leaving, and that ball's going to the right place. He's just a second off. Just a second off. And again, that's been happening more recently. There's a lot of pressure on Trask when teams know that you're passing so frequently. You're facing difficult scenarios. In this case, again, he gets a positive numbers game, but he gets a blitz coming at him quickly, does not have a hot read call on here to dump the ball off, does not have a distribution outlet with his running back. This is still going to be a tough throw to hit. And that's one of the things I want to illustrate is although I'm showing you this is the right guy, that's the only throw he had. And that's still a go route up the sideline against a blitz. It's not going to be an immediate ID. So LSU is making it difficult on him. All right, 3rd and 6 for Florida. We've just spent quite a bit of time diagnosing Trask's pre-snap read difficulty, at least potentially now 2 games in a row. Here we go again with this bunch set. LSU counters this time with 4 defenders. Again, we're 4 versus 3. Doesn't mean you can't throw to this side, but pre-snap read, you're not liking what you see here. Not liking what you see here. 4 versus 3, 2 versus 1, 3 versus 2. The running back goes this way. What is LSU telling you? Hey, we don't think that you can run against us in this 5-man box for 6 yards. We don't think you can do that at all. In fact, running the ball here probably is the right play. It probably is the right play if you're a better team and you can run well. In fact, you could hit a huge play here to the weak side by pulling a guard or something else if you're more confident in your running game because you can run the corner off here and give yourself matchups with a lot of field where the safety is your last defender. That's not going to happen here for Florida. Instead, Trask is going to make a really poor read. Now, why is this so poor? Again, we've talked about what teams are doing. Take a look at the posture. Deny an inside release here. We're waiting for any inside release here. We're waiting for an inside release here that we can climb down on. And then same thing is going on here. We're squeezing all of this area into this little tube here and taking away the routes that Florida wants to run. One of the beauties of football is as the season goes on, teams figure out what teams want to do more and more and more. Now things are becoming more difficult. Now you're going to see Trask check. He's going to check his left side first, which he does. Doesn't see anything he likes there. He's going to then come around to the right side. And this, again, of just a surprising throw from Trask. Pre-snap, you know you're 4-on-3. You've got a defender sitting inside. You're going to have a little underneath slant route here. There it is from Shorter. There's your slant route. LSU, though, is going to dive straight down on this. We showed a similar robber play that Alabama used against Kentucky. Not the same exact design, but a similar design of basically robbing routes teams like to run. And Trask loads up and throws this ball right to LSU. Again, this is simple identification. Trask has to know that he's 4 versus 3. You know you're 4 versus 3. You can't just trust this slant route to be there like you could 3-on-3 if you see a window. You have a waiting defender. Also notice how close to the line of scrimmage LSU is. They're playing very, very aggressively. Not a lot of spacing, no intermediate window. They're going to compress these throws for Trask, and they're going to deny the inside breaking routes, which is exactly what you see them do. And they bait Trask into a pick 6. Now look, as a quarterback, sometimes this stuff is just going to happen. This is a bad play. It's a bad read. It's a bad situation. It's not good. But why is this getting more and more difficult for Florida? Because of what you're seeing here. Again, whether you're a college team or you're an NFL team, if you're constantly facing a numbers situation like this is very, very hard to consistently do. Florida still does it very, very well, which shows how good their passing game is. But in these situations, it's just difficult. There's no play fake here. And again, I want you to keep this in mind. There's absolutely no play fake here to the running back. He's just going to go out. This makes things so easy for opposing teams. Right away, we're all know this is pass. This is good. Safety's pass. We're in pass mode. We're in pass. I can do whatever I want. I don't need the help. There's not even a play fake. Too easy. Nice play design by LSU. Poor pre-snap read by Trask. Is anyone open on this play? No. No one is open. There was not a single player that was open on this play. One more time. No one is open here. He has a good, clean pocket. Something we haven't seen a whole lot of. Take a look at the right side of the field here. Nice, clean pocket. He probably could have held on for just a second more. Had he done that, he's going to have Rick Wells here in what's still going to be a difficult throw. There's a safety that you cannot see off here lingering. Not a good option here. Not an easy throw. Not a good choice. Trask makes the absolute worst decision. But there was not an obvious one here other than simply to tuck it down and take a 1 or 2 or 3 yard run, a no gain, or even perhaps a loss by maintaining the number one job for a quarterback, which is not turning the ball over. Something that Trask has done so well all season long is right after a bad drive, a bad pick, a bad situation, he'll make other teams pay. Florida's going to lean into this and try to make that happen again. Again, 2 receivers here on the strong side, 3 defenders. 1 receiver here on the weak side, 2 defenders. I'm going to keep highlighting this, and on this play, you're going to get a go route from Grimes. There's a play fake. Now, why is the play fake useful? Notice what happened to the linebackers. They had to at least take a step or 2 here, and also notice the posturing at the top of your screen for what Florida is doing. Take a look at this. Very aggressive posturing here. They're very comfortable that Florida's going to run some sort of in-breaking route, and they're also going to be able to stop the run while allowing this corner to bail enough to stop any particular go route. They are sitting on Florida's tendencies, and over here, LSU did this all game long. They were not going to fall for any of Florida's double moves. They're going to try to give a little out and up here, essentially, just a little head nod. Actually, this winds up being, it's an inside breaker, slant and go, but really quick. And this LSU defender gives nothing of it. He's just going to sit on top of this route. And the only reason, in fact, Florida's going to have Copeland wide open here, and he is going to be wide open, is because, look at this. We're not quite ready for the play yet. What are we doing? Okay. Oh, not ready. Copeland is going to he falls. Copeland's gone. This is a touchdown, right? Understandable why in the pre-snap, Trask is not looking here. But really, at this point in time, this is not good either. Again, now we're just guessing. And this is one of the hardest things about being a quarterback, is if you don't have an obvious pre-snap matchup, you're guessing. And I want you to look here again. 1st down and 10. 6, 2, 4, 6. We're hat on hat football. Do I love passing the ball? I sure do. Do I worry about run-pass balance? I definitely don't. What I do care about is playing with the numbers on your side. Florida's making it very difficult for themselves. Now, one thing that's beneficial here is this is going to be an excellent job by the offensive line. Take a look. He's got plenty of time here in the pocket. In fact, we pick this up to where Trask could have slid. If he wanted to, he could have slid in here and stayed here. We talked at length in the podcast that if all season long you're getting beat on the right side, that could cause problems for Trask later down the road with his timing, with trusting the timing on later, deeper breaking throws. This is one that he should have immediately looked at Copeland and come off of him. But again, he is pre-snap determining to go this way. He's simply looking off here, and he thinks, I've got a one-on-one here. I'm going to take my shot with my double move. But again, LSU is on top of that route. When in reality, what would you want to see happen if you think you want to look at this double move here? Take your snap, right now, take a window at your double move. Okay, I don't love it. He's squatting on it, and then make another read. Now, again, it may not be that you're going to come all the way over here. That's football. You cannot see the entire field in one quick glance, right? It's possible the read window is first, second, check down. It just depends. So if you're watching on TV and you're thinking, man, how does he not see Copeland here? That's terrible quarterbacking. You don't know who the primary receiver is, which in this case is almost certainly Grimes, and you don't know where the read progression goes from there. And again, pre-snap, this is not anything that makes you feel good about that side of the field, and neither is this. But especially not this. 2-on-1 is the worst case scenario in football. You'd much rather take 2v3 because of obviously patterns that you can run, right? So keep that in mind. It's a really important thing to note. But obviously Copeland was the right one there, and the only real reason that happened is he's not looking, and he blows his assignment most of the time. LSU, despite being down all three of their starting DBs, performed rather exemplary against the route tree Florida wanted to run. They are going to get torched plenty of times in this film study, but in general, starting 3 new defensive backs against Florida's passing attack can be successful for one simple reason, something we talk about in our defensive breakdown videos all the time. If you're going to play defense, half the battle is getting lined up in a formation that correctly makes things difficult on the offense. By having your players positioned in the proper spots pre-snap, you can make things very difficult, especially in college, for opposing offenses. It's what LSU does here. Copeland is a touchdown. Florida does not see it. Instead, we're just throwing a wish ball, really a throwaway ball here to Grimes on 1st and 10. 1st and 10 for Florida. Something that Alabama absolutely got LSU with significantly was play action. They would run a play action here, and they would run dig routes across the field. Anything that was going to be an intermediate route when the linebackers would suck up and you could throw the ball over their head. It's one of the reasons why play action is so good. It's another reason why Alabama's offense is so good, despite the fact that it can be more simple. When you run the ball well, you open up this part of the field significantly. Florida here, going to have a nice pre-snap motion. This is good. This is what you want to see Florida do. Let's bring a strong safety down to cover Tony. Let's then also run a play fake to the running back to suck up all the linebackers. There they are. Take a look at what's going on in the box. We have now caught LSU in a favorable play, right? Now, this route combination is very curious. You're not going to see it. Why Florida's not simply running an 8 to 10 yard dig route here, I don't really know at all. Instead, you're going to notice that Copeland just sort of comes off your screen for a while, maybe even jogs actually into this route for a little bit before snapping it off here. Trask is looking at him right now. You can see it. He's wanting to throw to him now. Reese has lost his man here in the middle. He's just simply beat one-on-one. That's not good. Florida has the proper play call on right now. We just have to execute it. Again, Reese gets beat one-on-one. Not good. That's going to make this throw come out early, meaning not at all. Now this is wide open. This part of the field, you can't see it. We're going to get a clear out here. There's nobody on this entire side of the field. It's going to be an easy 15, 20-yard completion. Either Florida runs this route a little sooner and it hits, or we hold up at the point of attack and it hits. But again, it's something Alabama absolutely killed LSU with. So many teams all year long have done the same. Florida was almost universally unable to hit that area of the field, and it's one of the reasons why they had so many 3-and-outs in this game. 2nd and 26 for Florida. And what do we see? If you're catching on now, you definitely know exactly what I'm about to say. 3 verse 2 and 4 verse 3. Again, this is not easy. We have no running back here, so we don't need linebackers to worry about the run, and we're not going to. Despite that, something Trask can still do really well, something we've said all year long he could do even better if we had good protection, was throw later breaking routes. Now take a look. Trask, you can see now, is starting to have a little more confidence in the right tackle. Notice the footwork, pops, reads, waits, leans. Good job here by Stone Forsythe, holding off his man, holding the pocket. Trask does not have to leave the pocket, doesn't have to alter his footwork. He can come downhill on this throw. And because he can come downhill on this throw, he's going to drop an absolute dime into a double-covered Grimes. I mean, you cannot throw a better ball than that. Ball's driven, great velocity, great placement, perfect throw. Comes from having a clean pocket, which we hit. And he beats an LSU defense that is absolutely ready for this play. We've been talking about it all season long. Grimes is often getting doubled, which he does here. Tony also going to get doubled up here. They're going to bracket him. Here's your inside bracket with the safety over top. Bracketing Tony, bracketing Grimes. If there's no pits there, teams, if they're going to play +2, are definitely going to take Tony away, and they're definitely going to take Grimes away because he is our best vertical threat and our most consistent deep receiver. Of course, despite them trying to take Tony away, Tony had a phenomenal game, really cementing his status for me as one of the most remarkable turnarounds in skill set from last year to this year that I have seen a player make. So hats off to him. He gave everything he had in this game. It was fantastic for Florida. And on this play, of course, Florida with a really positive one, an amazing throw by Trask against, again, double coverage by LSU for a big gain. This is now the very next play, and you're getting a nice stat here of how many passes of 20-plus yards LSU allowed, which is, again, second most in the country. One of the reasons why we thought that Florida would shred LSU's defense. 474 passing yards and a bunch of passing yards, 20-plus or more, did occur. But LSU also stopped Florida way more, again, than anybody expected on offense, and it was largely because we talked about their scheme, which is built over the weeks now of other teams trying and testing things against Florida's offense, and Florida, of course, helping them. Here's another example of that. Florida now trying to do some sort of play action, but take a look at this play fake. Not a good one. Again, and this is on Trask, right? This is on Trask. What's happening in practice during the week, I have no idea. This is not a play fake that means anything. It doesn't. And take a look at LSU. They don't even react to it, right? If you're going to run a play action play, you've got to sell play action here. Take a look. No sell. Timing is way off. Linebackers haven't even begun to come down the line of scrimmage. Take a look one more time. They're not coming downhill at all. Again, it's 1st down and 10. If teams are playing you that way, just hand the ball off. Start being a power running team. It's something I think is the best. I think being a spread passing team and a power running team is really the meta strategy in football in general. You need to have that capability, but regardless here, they're not doing it. And because of that, absolutely no one is open. No one is open. There's no one open on this play. There's no place to go with the ball. Now, great job here blocking. This is, of course, the offensive lineup. We like blocking. Take a look at this. He's got a great pocket. Nobody breaking through, nobody getting him. He's going to escape on his own. He does have Tony. Now, we're not going to get a great look at this with this camera angle. Tony is going to fall a little bit out of bounds. Trask is also going to put this ball too far to the inside. It needs to be out here. But the combination of both Tony falling a little bit early, Trask throwing the ball too far inside, winds up with an incredibly fluky interception. In my opinion, right? This is just an incredibly fluky interception. For this to go wrong in this situation, this should just be an incomplete pass. We're going to get this hitting off of his helmet. His foot hits just out of bounds a second later. And he reestablishes his momentum just in time. To me, this is a good call. I think if they called this incomplete pass, it would have stood. They called it a pick, and it stood. Looking at this in slow motion, I think the correct call is that this is in fact a pick. And this is just incredibly unlucky. Again, off of Tony's hand here, into his face mask when he's not looking. His foot is knocked down on that play. But all of that results because LSU is expecting pass. They get past. They're +2 in defense. There's nowhere to go with the ball. Trask is trying to make a play on the sideline. Airs just a little bit, and it becomes a pick. Again, good defense, and LSU does not have a good defense, but good defense starts with reducing or shrinking the window size for passes, reducing coverage bust, making it harder for the offense to move the ball, and then making it more risky and more dangerous for the offense to move the ball. That can rely, or results rather, in positive plays, and that's what happened in the case of LSU. We talked last week about how Tennessee was really able to accurately guess what Florida was going to do on defense quite a bit. Another example of it here, Florida's going to try to run a screen, which is a good call if the team is blitzing you quite a bit. LSU really was not pressuring Florida too often with blitzes, certainly not as much as Tennessee did, but they were doing it enough to keep Florida honest. Here we go again with an under snap play action, not a pretty play action. But here is what I want to show you. Grimes, for one of the first times all day, has an entire wide side of the field to work with, and they have a corner that is way deep. Florida is going to play right into their hands by running a very deep out route. On this play, you could have had him run a flare route. Really anything over here to this part of the field is potentially going to be a big play. But this play is a screen the whole way, and LSU is immediately coming after it. They recognize it, they see it, they're waiting for it. This is not fooling anyone. Reese can only block one guy, and his guy is bailing back here because LSU is ready. Again, take a look. There you go. This is a problem. If you're plus a defender, and that defender's an unblocked man by design, you're in trouble. That means the defense is reading what you want to do, and there's an example of it there for LSU. 3rd down and 9 for Florida. 3rd down, 9 for Florida. LSU, again, displaying a positive pass defense here. There's 3, there's 1, but in reality there's 2, and we're going to have a linebacker shadowing here or here, depending on how they want to play it. Positive pass alignment. Again, no play fake. Take a look at this. No play fake here whatsoever. Linebackers then know we're in pass coverage. Here's who's assigned to the running back. Here is the free pass defender who's going to try to read the eyes and flow into the window. Here comes a double on Tony. Here's Tony. Here comes a double to the inside. Here's a bracket to push to the inside. We're going to funnel him in here. Don't get beat on an out route. Push to my inside help. Good fundamentals by LSU. And on the far side here, we're going to have one-on-one with Copeland and a bailing corner. Now, this is one of the benefits of having an offensive line that is actually going to protect you. Now we're going to have a lot of time. Trask can reset, set the feet. Take a look at this pocket. He looks like Mac Jones back there right now, right? Tons of time. There it is. Ball comes out with a lot more velocity when you can set and throw like this. All of a sudden, Trask's arm looks pretty strong, making throws like that. Something Florida has not gotten to do a lot this season, and something that I think definitely caught up with them in this game. Your scheming, your routes, your timing, what you do might be different if you're generating that kind of time in the pocket. Now, again, Florida was under pressure for a lot of this game. I'm definitely not saying that they were able to keep a clean pocket all the time, but you rarely see plays like this on film for Florida, especially in the past several weeks, and you definitely saw them when Delance went out of the game. It was not perfect. Florida still had a bunch of 3-and-outs. I'm not saying that. A lot of that, again, had to do with what we've been talking about ad nauseum. LSU playing positive numbers in the pass game and also playing Florida's tendencies very well. By the way, that's not Copeland running that route. That is, in fact, Grimes, which we saw earlier, getting a huge cushion, as Grimes tends to get. Florida takes advantage of the comeback route. That's the right route there. If you have a lot of time and you got a bailing corner, run comeback routes on them all day. Here's a great play illustrating the power of play action, because we're going to wind up using a play fake here. We're going to suck these defenders up and make this throw window easy again. Why Florida was not doing this on nearly every single play, I just don't know. Why this has diminished greatly from game to game in the past couple of weeks, I just don't know. This is too easy. And again, let's take a look at the pocket here. Take a look at the pocket here. Although Stone Forsythe does not get the greatest block, he at least is able to get his hands on him, slow him down. Nice time for the play fake. He's standing stall in the pocket, drives down on the throw. Perfect ball placement. Easy 15-yard pickup. If we do not have a play fake here, if we send the running back out, he stays home, he goes here, he sits in this window, the play is not there. So again, why this wasn't the every single down situation for Florida, we won't know and we can't know. It's 1st and goal. Seems like a great time to fake a handoff to your running back. Seems like a great time. We're not going to do it. And again, take a look at this. I want you to really focus on what's happening here in the box, because we're not going to fake anything. Because we don't look immediately. Again, Florida can only send out 5. Immediately, the linebackers don't care. The safeties don't care. Everyone is playing pass defense. Florida is expecting man defense on this. We're going to get a mesh route here. Right here's your mesh. Over the top route, they are not playing man. You can see LSU is playing zone, and they are clogging the middle of the field, waiting for this exact play to occur, waiting for the mesh routes to occur. There is absolutely nothing there. There's no place for Trask to go with that football. LSU, again, ready for what Florida wants to do. Florida here. Enough time to make this throw. Tons and tons of time. This is a quick game route. Look how much time he has in the pocket. Right? So that's a win for the O-line. It's a win for the O-line. Again, they weren't winning all the time, but this lineup has already shown more on film, despite not getting a lot of real game reps, at actually holding a line like this. Perhaps there's an even better combination that exists. We can't know, because Florida wasted a lot of time not experimenting with different offensive line combinations. It's 2nd and goal. Perhaps now is the time to make sure that we run a play fake here. Let's see what we're looking at. Well, LSU, 3 versus 2. We could just potentially run the ball. Maybe we motion out our tight end over here and we see what happens with him and see if we have space we like. I don't know. We could try that, or we could motion our running back out. Because by doing that, now they know for sure we're not going to run the ball. They're going to play a 4-man front. Take a look at this. We're doubled up here. We're 3 here. Right? Okay, we're good. There we go. So there goes 3 receivers, 3v2, and 4v3. Uphill battle all day long. Good physical contact within 5 yards. I love this kind of defense. Excellent job. That messes up the spacing and timing of the route. Picked up, doubled, taken away on the outside. Nowhere for Trask to go with this pass. He tries to fit in an absolute ridiculous throw, which he almost does, to Zipper. Doesn't get it through there. So if you're watching these games thinking, hey, Trask should have been doing so much better, what part of the field is he seeing? We've highlighted some very nitpicky things that he could have seen or should have done better. We've highlighted some things that were really poor with the pre-snap read and other things. But in general, one thing you're seeing, Florida does not have a lot of open receivers. There are not a lot of obvious choices here to make. LSU is making it difficult on Trask. And again, he still had 470 some odd yards, despite the fact that the scheme was perfectly suited and designed after weeks and weeks of testing by every other SEC team to stop what Florida wants to do. And he was without Kyle Pitts, almost certainly because they decided they could beat Florida. They could beat LSU without Kyle Pitts, and they'd keep him healthy for the Alabama game, which, although well-intentioned and quite reasonable, not so great. If he actually could have played and Florida could have beaten LSU, that's pure speculation. We don't know. But obviously, again, motion out, make it simple, no threat of a run, play overload numbers against the pass, play the tendencies, and play proper. And LSU did this with a bunch of backups that had not a lot of actual experience. 3rd and goal, 2 plays in a row that we haven't had an ability to have a play fake here. We're inside the 6-yard line. Perhaps we'll use one now to keep them honest, or perhaps we won't. So pre-snap, this looks like 4-on-3 here and potentially 3-on-2 here. Things don't look so good as it develops out a little more. Right now, let's pause it. So you play the quarterback, you know the routes. If you know the routes, you know that we have this, and then we have this. This is a good route combination, 2-on-2. If I'm Trask, this is where I'm looking, especially because teams have been helping inside so much. This has got to be the look, right? 4-on-3, not so good here. I don't like this look. Trask is not going to look here. Not going to look to the left, and that's definitely wrong. Definitely the wrong way to go. Again, here we go. There's your out route. There's your go clear out route. This is a touchdown. This is actually the only place that we were going to have a touchdown, because on this side, we're dead. Nothing there. Nothing open. Now, why do I point this out? This is also quite interesting. LSU, despite doubling Tony almost the entire game on almost every single play, is not going to pay any attention to Tony. In fact, they're going to fake pressure coming from here. They're going to send a blitz into the B gap here, and they're going to replace here, covering a slant from the field side to the strong side, allowing Tony essentially, if he wanted, to run his own route here, which he doesn't run. Interesting scouting. Again, what are teams doing? Teams are saying Florida doesn't really want to throw out routes to Tony. So we're going to give you that. We're not going to let you run anything in the middle of the field. We're not going to let you run anything in the middle of the field here with your tight ends. That stuff's just not going to happen. We're going to make everything come outside. And again, pre-snap here, the issue I have with Trask pre-snap is pre-snap, they're telling you this is dead, you can't like this. Pre-snap, this looks okay. He's underneath the end play, but it looks great. It looks great when you know this is your route combination and he can't help you. So missed opportunity here from Trask for sure. Again, curious to immediately take this read to the right. Good blitz by LSU. But all of this still occurs because Florida's making it so easy by making themselves even more one-dimensional than they have to be. Down 14-10, 3rd and 5 for Florida. Florida perhaps showing, not that there's panic, but showing that they're having some issues with LSU's game plan, is going to put Tony straight at running back to create a matchup with a linebacker, because at this point in time, Florida knows that LSU is going to play 4 versus 3, which is what they do here, and 2 versus 1, which is what they do here. And sometimes he'll up the running back and sometimes he won't. So again, we're going to lean into that. There's the lean in. We're going to put Tony one-on-one, and we're going to have him run an out route, which of course, as you heard me just mention, Florida's not running a lot of out routes there. Trask steps up, easy throw, easy completion, turns into a nice big gain. Now, if you're paying attention, number 2 is not a linebacker for LSU. He's actually a corner. Telling you LSU was not actually fooled by this play. In fact, they were still playing heavy pass defense. They thought for sure it was going to be a pass. Tony just winds up winning this one-on-one matchup, something that Florida is very good at, and a reason why teams, of course, bracket Tony. Florida faced quite a few long third downs in this game, which, of course, tells you, again, their offense is not operating efficiently. They did gain a lot of chunk yardage, as we've been seeing. On this particular play, Florida going to wind up 3-on-3. That's a rarity. We're 3-on-3 here. We're 3-on-2 here. No running back in the backfield. No worry here from LSU that anything is going to happen. Here's our offensive line. Great protection. Because we have great protection, we can climb the pocket. We can deliver a really nice pass to Copeland, who is in fact covered. He's covered, makes a nice adjustment to the interior part of the ball on a really well thrown ball by Trask. Really well thrown ball by Trask. This corner does a really nice job turning, staying on top of the route, and in fact does such a good job that as they're hand fighting down the sideline, he actually loses leverage by himself, which allows Copeland to turn in. But at the beginning of the route, he was in perfect shape. Tony, bracketed. Here's an in route. There's your bracket. There's your bracket from the safety. Let me rewind that there for you. There's your bracket from the safety who's going to come downhill. Here he comes. Can't see him, but he's there waiting for it. And then over here, we're dropping into the middle window because we want to take away any routes that are coming in here, we being LSU. You can see the game plan. So they do occasionally go 3-on-3, but why? They're playing tendencies. They're saying, fine, if you want to go 3-on-3 to this side, you can't do it to the inside part of the field. Trask beats them here with a really well thrown ball, but this is the point. LSU made Florida earn all of those 474 yards. There were not a lot of easy layup throws to be made in this game. That was very surprising, given how many easy layup throws were generated by other schools. And for all the reasons we mentioned before already in this video, Florida just didn't really put a lot of pressure and a lot of conflict on LSU. They allowed their defenders to be able to easily read what the play was going to be, and this affected, I think, again, Florida's efficiency. Florida down 21-17. Florida's had a lot of magic towards the end of second quarter, so it's reasonable to expect Florida to be aggressive to try to drive down to get at least a field goal. Pre-snap LSU, that's 4 versus 3. That's 2 versus 1, and again, potentially 3 versus 2 if we want that. But on this play, DeLance back in the game, along with Reese on the right side of our line here. And what's going to happen? Things we've seen many, many times on film.
Big leg in the very least.
It is. Going to get a rush up, twist inside. Reese is going to get beat here. Reese really struggled in this game with LSU. It was by far his worst game of the season as a Gator. He's beat. DeLance is beat. Everyone's beat on the right side. Meanwhile, the left side doing a nice job here. Again, they are 3v2. So that's an advantage they have. But regardless, this is immediate pressure, something Trask has been used to on a lot of the previous plays. You saw that wasn't actually happening. Those weren't just selected for that reason. That's just what happened with that offensive line combination. Here we don't get that. This is really unlucky. Again, should Trask just take a sack here? Yes, he should. He should just eat this sack and go to halftime. Why are we not? Well, Florida's made a lot of plays at this stage of the game, and we're pressing. We're pressing. Again, you reap what you sow. So much of what you're seeing on this film offensively, which you'll see on the defensive film, if you haven't watched that one yet, it's just a culmination of things that have been happening all season long, personnel-wise, play-wise, etc. Obviously, Florida's offense is still an excellent offense. In this game, despite their turnovers and issues, they still did plenty to win. Despite what Dan Mullen says, they still did plenty to win, especially against an inexperienced, undermanned LSU team. And they had a lot of unfortunate plays and turnovers, and this is one of them. Again, ball's right here. He's trying to just dump this out. Really here, just take the sack and go to halftime. Again, the number one job for a quarterback is to protect the ball. Don't hurt your team with bad turnovers. Can you blame him for getting beat immediately here if you're Trask? No, but you got to eat it. Know the situation. There's 13 seconds left. You have one timeout left. This happens, too bad. You got to put yourself to bed, lay down here, get yourself a pillow, you're done, go to halftime, talk about it then, fix the problem. This is a problem that wasn't caused by Trask, but trying to press causes this fumble, which then gives LSU another 3 points. Difficult first half for Florida. Just ugly stuff across the board. Again, despite that, they still moved the ball. They still scored points, but this was by far the worst half of offensive execution as far as just cleanliness, play calling, play design, all things considered, not a good half of football. LSU now up 10, 8:29 left in the third quarter. Hardly anyone in the country would have believed this had you told them before the game this would be happening, but it was. I was sitting in the stadium watching it happen, and obviously things were not feeling good. So let's see if Florida learned anything from the first half. LSU, of course, going to stick with their game plan. Why change something when it is working so well? Let's see if Florida learns anything. Play fake. Look at this. By simply faking this handoff, here comes the linebackers. Corner's going to bail. Here comes the safety. Now, because of that, take a look at what happens. Linebacker's still coming in. Look at this window that it's going to create here to throw passes into. Now, this, in my opinion, would have been available for most of the game had Florida committed simply to doing this play fake that you saw here. We don't. Regardless, Copeland is going to run a post route over the top because this safety had to hold down low and because they're unconcerned about anyone other than Tony. There it is. There's your safety there, actually squeezing on Tony. But regardless of that, the reason there is space over the top, and although you can't see it, is because LSU is so aggressively squatting on Tony here that neither safety is actually bailing to help this dropper. So Florida has, in fact, created a very nice play right out of the gate based upon what LSU was doing to punish them. As soon as this ball is thrown, there's Copeland, ball's inside, pass interference. Now, at this point in time, I was thinking to myself, okay, great. At least on offense, we've figured out that we need to be running play action. Everything will be fine. We're still going to score 50, and we'll win like 50-34, right? That's the thought in my head. Of course, everyone knows how this story ends. It does not end that way, but nice play design, nice work, something that should have been done, in my opinion, way more often. All right, 1st and 10 for Florida. Let's see if we can keep things rolling. It's the very next play. Play fake. There's the play fake. Here we go again. Comes a strong safety. Here comes a linebacker. Here comes a free defender on the edge. Okay, these guys are all gone now. They're all out of the play. Don't need them anymore. Here's your inside bracket on Tony, and then there's your safety bracket. But now, if our offensive line can win at the point of attack, we can run a route into the voided space of the field, which is exactly what we're going to do. Take a look at this pocket. Something we have obviously been asking for a long time is to change up Florida's offensive line. They did it. In fact, again, they got the Allen Williams lineup, as I like to call it, something he's been calling for a while. I thought it did quite well, as you're seeing on film. And then this also does quite well. Nice, easy pass. Now, this is an easy throw for a guy of Kyle Trask's caliber. Plenty of green space, so does football too. And that all comes from running a simple play fake, clearing out the defense, and having a lot of grass to go to. So continuing the theme of adjustments, here we are again in Florida's really favorite red zone formation. And take a look at LSU. You are not going to throw this slant route. Now, I love this from LSU. As much as I have said that Bo Pelini has really struggled this year, and I personally don't think, again, he's the answer at LSU, this is correct stuff going on here. This is football 101. Take away what your opposing offense wants to do most and make them do something else, which they're going to do. We talked about Pierce being best at breaking tackles. Let's go ahead and give him the ball in these short situations, and there it is. And Florida does not get in. Now, I don't mind this call on 1st and goal, and I don't mind it at all because it's the right call. Numbers-wise, this is the call you want. This conflict defender cannot help. They're forcing you to run the ball in the middle of the field, but this is where Florida needs to be able to win this battle. And again, you see Reese just having a really hard time at the point of attack. And in fact, if Reese does a better job here, this will be a touchdown. Now you're going to look at Ethan White here, look like he's just bulldozing somebody, but he's actually getting a double team with him and Heggie. So we can't just totally put that on him. But Florida's offensive line, we know, has not been a strength for quite some time. They're decent in pass protection minus Delance. They're pretty good in pass protection against inferior teams minus Delance. But run blocking, it's been really many, many years since we've seen Florida be able to get any kind of push, and it's no different right here. However, this is the right call in this situation for Florida and a nice adjustment based upon what LSU was doing. And to finish off this drive of adjustments, here's LSU again, 4-on-3. This time, Florida's not going to be fooled. They're going to take the extra blocker they have, and while you don't want to put Trask at risk, and we talk about it all the time, when the score's like this, you need to score touchdowns. And if you can scheme up yourself a +1 or +2 blocking advantage, you need to make it happen despite a healthy advantage here on the front lines. This is still not a walk-in touchdown by any means for Florida, but it is a touchdown. And again, this is just what it's like for Florida right now to be gaining these short yardage situations. But if a team is going to do this on the goal line, if they're going to play 4 versus 3 in the passing game, you have got to run the ball every single time. And if you cannot score that way, you just are not going to beat good football teams. It's now the second possession in the third quarter for Florida. Perhaps like me, you were feeling better at this point in time. You just watched the proper adjustments. You watched the offense do what they should have been doing all game long. And you're going to see a continuation of it here after a Trask quarterback keeper. We know they've been doubling Tony. There's your double on Tony. Obviously the same 4-on-3 start we had been seeing. And if they're going to double Tony and they're going to bring this safety down in the box, then which would be running? If you guess post route, you're correct, especially because take a look at what's going on over here on the 3-on-2, heavily denying these tendencies. Now look, one of the reasons Florida has not been able to run these deeper post routes is because we haven't had the protection. Something we have been, again, lamenting all year long. This cannot happen if you don't have the protection. Take a look at the pocket. Look at that pocket. Clean, beautiful, step into the throw, deliver an absolute dime that if he does not shoestring Copeland here is a touchdown. Again, this is what can happen when you have that extra time and you're not getting beat right here immediately, and you can step up into the pocket and throw a clean ball anywhere you need to. Teams would not be able to be so aggressive on Florida if Florida were taking advantage of scenarios like this. So we keep the ball rolling here in the third quarter. Dan Mullen's adjustments paying off. Things are working well. First and goal for Florida now. Again, momentum really building here. LSU 4-on-3. This is going to be a great play call, something we've talked about on multiple film breakdowns. Is if Florida wants to run these screens, they need to run them further away from the conflict defender to give themselves the numbers. Often you'll see Florida start this formation in here. This pass gets thrown here, and it's just not going to be as effective. This is an excellent design by Florida, and this is an easy touchdown pass. Take a look at what happens. We're going to move Tony and his catch point almost out to the numbers, which then is going to eliminate this conflict defender from really being able to make a play, which in fact does make it 4-on-3 for Florida. This is a good design, a good east-west example. As long as Florida can win, which they do, that's an easy touchdown. Nice play, nice scheme, simple adjustment. Again, the ball keeps rolling here in the third quarter, and at this point in time, I think Gator fans around the country felt like this game was going to be over. And again, obviously it was not. First play is a run play for Florida that gains only 1 yard. It's now 2nd and 9, still in the third quarter. The third drive for Florida. Florida has all the momentum after stopping LSU. And the ominous fog is rolling in. LSU here, 4 versus 3 and 3 versus 2. And Florida decides to be in an empty set. Again, why? I just don't know. We just saw all the success they had by having a running back there and play actioning. First play is a straight handoff. Second play, we're going to go empty. This play is not going to be great for the offensive line. Tony going to run an out route here. Again, taking advantage of the fact that, hey, you know what? They're taking away the inside. Here's your help defender. Let's take this away. Not a lot of places to go with this football. And this is going to be marked up by a safety you can't see. In fact, no real place to go with this football. Nothing is here. In this case, Garage is going to get beat. And this is really going to be, again, a speed rush to the outside. Chased for a while, gets outside the pocket, and just has to throw it away. But this is much better. This is much better situations for a quarterback to have than we faced before. That play's not on the O-line. There's just no place to go with the football here. No place to go. Again, curious. I just don't really understand why. after the success Florida had just had on the previous 2 drives, given how LSU was defending it, given their inexperience, that you would run something that is again so straightforward. So now it's 3rd and 9, where the threat of a run is obviously much smaller, and LSU is going to counter with a little bit of game theory here. They're going to show 3-on-3 on this side. They're going to show a single high safety, a look that they hadn't had a ton of before, and they're going to show a huge cushion over here as though they're playing one-on-one. Here comes a blitz from the middle. They're going to drop this defensive end into the slant window. There it is. Take away the slant window. They're going to drop this defensive end, which is really the linebackers. These are linebackers, right? Linebacker drops. But for all purposes, the end of their line is going to drop in. So their linebackers drop off the line of scrimmage to take away any in-breaking route. Why? Because Florida has a lot of success on those in-breaking routes. And they're going to run a double move here, which they kept trying to do all game long. And LSU was quite ready for it. Again, ready for it here. Copeland breaks his off because he's been top routed already by the LSU defender. And this goes nowhere. Now, whether or not Copeland should have broken that off, it's not going to matter. If he keeps running, he's not going to catch this ball. If it's a read route, breaking it off would have been the right move. I can't tell you for sure. I don't know. But regardless, this becomes, again, just an ugly incompletion. Florida had more of these type of incompletions in this game than any other one. And a lot of this is just route combos, again, that don't make sense. Look at this cushion that you have, trying to run a double move where LSU was just not jumping any first moves like that. Not going to work. This was a one-on-one side. LSU saying, hey, we'll live with you trying to run an out route because we don't think you want to throw that route. And that's obviously true. Again, Kentucky seemed to be the first to really put this defend the inside at all cost strategy on film. And it has been getting more and more refined by each opponent Florida plays. Expect Alabama to utilize this against Florida in the SEC championship for sure. LSU up 34-31 with 12 minutes and 22 seconds left and counting in the game. The fog has gotten so bad. It's gotten so bad they had to switch to really the only camera that had a view of what was going on. Of course, that's going to actually just leave out more players for Florida, but it does give us a nice view of the offensive line and what Trask sees. So pros and cons on this particular play. What's important to note here, although you can't see it and it shouldn't surprise you, is that we have 3-on-2 on this side and 4-on-3 on this side. Now, this is really, really important. Another reason why I feel like Trask was struggling in this game to read the field better than he probably should. Tony is going to run a go route. Copeland, which you can't see, is going to run a slant route. Now, where this safety is based upon, especially given the attention they've been giving Tony, the slant route from Copeland is a good route to look at. That's a good route to look at. The 4v3 side, not a good side to look at, especially given the strong safety's position. Take a look at how aggressively he's playing this. Trask could have read that pre-snap. Instead, Trask really is just going to quickly check and see the safeties and what's happening, and immediately he wants to snap to this slant route. Again, this is not nearly as good as this route would have been here, and you can see he's bailing to cover for Tony. This route's a much bigger route to Copeland. He's got a crashing safety coming on him. No one else is open on the far side of the field. This is not exactly, hey, I love this route, everything is so great, but this is definitely where the ball's got to go here. Ball's got to go to Copeland. Now, we know the issues that Copeland has catching slant routes, although I did not isolate it or slow-mo it on the touchdown I showed you earlier from Copeland. He did a similar thing with just the reverse, hand pattern you'd want when catching a ball that breaks to your inside. He's just not a natural catcher of the football on these in-breaking routes. It's something he'll need to work on in the offseason. But regardless, this is where your pre-snap read has got to be. Got to be here on this play. Again, this camera's nice, but you're the quarterback right now. Take a look at your lineup. You can even see the distance depth they have. Right? It's a strong safety coming in tight. Again, 4-on-3, 3-on-2. Tony on this side, he's running a go route. All likely he's going to run with you. The only thing Trask to do is take this snap and read him. If he bails, he's coming to the slant on Copeland. And if that happened, imagine that happened here on 3rd and 3. Florida's definitely going to convert. There he goes. This is here. No problem. Instead, again, takes the far less likely pass. Really, this pass shouldn't be thrown into a tight space. Incomplete, and Florida must punt. But with all that being said, notice, of course, and I save this for the last comment, 3rd and 3, no running back. Empty set. 3rd and 3, no running back. Empty set. Inexperienced LSU team, causing them no conflict, whether it's run or pass. Florida's still down 3, pinned on their own 1-yard line here. LSU 2-on-1, 3-on-2. Florida's going to run the right play here, and they're going to get quite unlucky. Again, they should have been doing this every single play. There's your play fake. Suck the linebackers up. This is a good situation for us. Let's make sure we look at this side here, and we're going to run the appropriate route combination. This is the right way to beat. Especially if you're 2-on-3, it's a great way to beat it. So we're going to take a receiver into the seam window there, stem our route, stem into the seam window, have Tony trail right behind him, and then break to the out route. The least likely route in our route tree for Tony. There it is, and we're going to turn the defender all the way around. Again, you can't defend somebody if you're looking this way and he's going this way. Trask is ready to throw. Everything looks good. Only problem is we've got a little pressure right here, which is not going to let him step into his throw. Notice how he can't step in. He stays completely straight. Take a look. Can't step in. That causes him to sail this pass, which is extremely costly for Florida in this situation. Sails the pass, incomplete to Tony on 2nd down, and that happens really based upon a series of an unfortunate circumstance. Florida wins at the point of attack. Here's Heggie. He's got his man. Everything is fine. Pierce actually comes in through the hole. There it is. And the help block that we get here from Kamori Gamble is actually what does us in. Bingo. Chips him, and by chipping him here, he drives him in here. Heggie falls down, and then in comes the defensive tackle. Notice here Stone Forsythe at right tackle, a position we think he's much more suited to play in the NFL if he can hang on and make a roster. Locked up. This is good protection. It allows Trask to have a nice pocket, and due to the unfortunate circumstance here, which of course there are many in this game, this becomes an incomplete pass. 3rd and 10 for Florida after that really great start in the 3rd quarter where Florida scored twice. We're now struggling. Just missed a pass. We're going to keep a running back here. Perhaps we'll use a little play fake on 3rd and 10. I'm kidding, actually, in this situation. You can play fake all you want. LSU is going to give you that. They're going to play pass all the way. That's one of the downsides of being in 3rd and 10 is you lose putting a team in conflict. LSU only going to send 4. Why only send 4? Because against Florida, you can often get pressure, despite the fact that the offensive line has been doing better. This, again, by Trask, I think something we've seen before is there's sort of the boogeyman mentality. He's done so well all season long dealing with pressure. He escapes the pocket when in reality he should be throwing this football. So, of course, LSU is going to do what they always do, 4-on-3 here and 3-on-2 down here. Florida's going to have shorter, wide open here on this, what you can call an extended slant route. It's a post route, but it really almost functions as an extended slant. It's run shorter than a typical post, and you can see him here. He is wide open, tons and tons of space. Easy throw for Trask. Trask has this throw. He's actually looking at this window right now. This is the window he's looking at. He sees, he should know right away, Tony's not the right option, and he should already know at this exact point in time that shorter is, and typical Trask puts this ball right here. We've seen him do it all season long many times, and for whatever reason, rather than letting this ball go, he's not in duress. This throw can be made. He ducks and tucks and leaves the pocket, and now this throw is still here. Again, we have seen Trask make these throws. He can easily put this ball right here. There's no one to deter him to shorter, but he's got eyes only for Grimes, and he's going to try really just a Hail Mary sort of lob up there for Grimes. Not good by Trask. Again, this is just 2 games in a row where we've seen Trask do some things that are very outside his character, despite obviously not having a horrible game by normal or even good quarterback standards. For him, 2 games in a row where we've seen some surprisingly wrong reads, not seeing the field well, not hitting passes he had been hitting. And again, I think almost all of that has to do with the fact that teams are just making it so much harder for him to consistently have easier throws to make easy reads, to make conflict-free reads. He can't be quite as sure where the right pre-snap read's going to be, and that's just slowing him down just enough. 5:49, time is running out in this game. It's still 34-31. Game is sort of hanging in the balance. Here comes Florida with the pre-snap motion to move Tony to running back, knowing that LSU is going to stick with their 4-on-3 and 3-on-2 strategy, regardless of who Florida lines up where personnel-wise. This will work to Florida's advantage. There's the handoff. They're going to roll high to the free safety. Florida catches them in a bad play for this particular situation. And very, very reminiscent of the old school Percy Harvin plays. Tony gets a big gain on a simple handoff. Again, why Florida was unable to generate more of these type plays given how LSU was playing will forever be a mystery to all of us. Florida going to go empty here yet again. Now, if you're going to go empty, and LSU is going to counter 3-on-2, 4-on-3, 4-side, 3-side, whatever side you have Tony on, you know they're going to double, right? So there's one thing you can do to deal with this. If you can get time, again, which Florida was getting from their offensive line, that changes how you can call plays as a play caller. If you know you're going to have enough time, you can run longer developing plays. Florida's basically going to just put Tony here as a decoy. There he is. He's going to hold then the safety underneath. And this, although it's a cover 2 shell, it's not really cover 2. In fact, again, obviously LSU rarely ever played cover 2 unless what you would consider to be safeties dropping back and splitting the field in half. They had a 2-high shell that was often coming down, as we've seen here, bracketing Tony. There it is. And then you can see here, bracketing Grimes, and this is Copeland running a post route. This is the route you want to hit. Trask now ready for it. It's his primary read. This is the play almost certainly. Nice clean pocket. Good job, Stone. Not getting beat around the edge. Great job here, Guraj. Clean pocket. Easy throw right on platform. Big chunk gain for Florida. It's now 1st and goal for Florida. Obviously a super crucial situation where you want Florida to take the lead at home. Florida lines up in a bunch set, and LSU, of course, is not going to get any kind of play fake here. So without a play fake immediately, all of these defenders, of which there are 7, as always, versus Florida's 5, are going to be waiting for what they expect to be measures from Florida and in breaking routes. They're going to double here. Here's your double on the corner route. There's an out route. Malik Davis is going to run a halfback middle route. There it is. And there's really nowhere to go here with this football. Take a look. You tell me who you're going to throw this ball to. There's nowhere to go. They've absolutely bottled up this play. And on top of that, we get beat in the middle here with Reese and Heggie. Trask then throws the ball away and gets called for an intentional grounding, which will further back Florida up. But there's just nothing here. To me, this is, again, really curious. You actually line up in a bunch set, and then run on this side, which is the wide side of the field, all of your routes interiorly. Then you act like you're going to send Malik Davis out and then snap him back in. But the reason why I bring all this up is LSU doesn't care. Take a look at this. Malik could have run this little flare, and we could have thrown it. They don't care. They're playing the inside. Look at his positioning. He is just going to play the inside. He's going to give you this. Teams have gotten extremely bold doing this against Florida, and it's paying off. All right, it's 34-31. It's now 2nd and goal from the 15. If I told you that we should hand the ball off here, would you agree? And if I told you we should hand the ball off and go to the short side of the field, how would you feel about that? Probably worse, right? Now let's imagine that Guraj here does not absolutely lose his one-on-one battle, because he does. Look, he gets pushed all the way back into the play. And let's assume Malik just cleanly gets this handoff, and we're sealed up here. He's going to go out here, sure. But take a look. What, he's going to get right here? He's going to have to beat him one-on-one, and let's assume that he gets out there. He's going to get tackled. Look, he's already ready for him. He's going to get tackled on the 12-yard line. So it's still going to be 3rd and goal on the 12-yard line. Again, to me, if you're Florida, all you really have to be doing is play faking this and passing. Because when you're pulling these guys in, take a look on this play fake. He doesn't know if this ball's gone or not. He's already coming in. A simple play fake here is giving you all the windows that you need. And I've said this way too many times in this already way too long breakdown of Florida's offensive film, but Florida's play calling for most of the season was really sound. We commented on it consistently. It ran with the numbers well. It was solid. It made sense. It was theoretically good. This game was just not that, obviously. Just really not, again, a wise way to attack how LSU is playing defense, and it's going to forever haunt Dan Mullen and the coaching staff, I'm sure. It's now 3rd down and goal for the most important play of the football game up until this point in time, and you would think perhaps we've learned some lessons. LSU, of course, is going to be 4-on-3 and 3-on-2. We don't have the luxury now of enough field space to be running posts behind them. So do they expect us to run in this situation? No, they don't. What kind of routes are we going to run that are going to allow us to be able to take care of business here? We're going to find out. Well, unfortunately for us, this is where the offensive line is going to let us down. We need time more than ever in this situation, and both Garage and Forsyth are going to get beat. There they both go. Both speed rushes, both get beat. Trask tries to climb the pocket, does in fact get away, but only temporarily. Now at this point in time, I want you to play quarterback and tell me where you think you're going to throw this pass. Dead, short, no way. You got a whole lot of nothing anyway. Not a lot of receivers that are open, not a lot of help routes. Take a look. These are all just one-on-one. Look, there's no help, right? You could argue this is sort of a rub route here to the corner, but that's thin at best. Just surprising. In all likelihood, this is the final play for Kyle Trask, Tony, Grimes, obviously a host of others in a Florida uniform at home in the swamp. This is, in fact, a very, very good play design by Florida, knowing they're going to get the same thing LSU had been giving them all day long. They're going to get a double on Tony, which is what they get. They're going to run a pump fake. So we're going to pump this, which is going to get these defenders to slide out here and then actually hit this. This is a really, really good concept at this point in time. All we need is the O-line to hold up. Take a look at this blocking. Beautiful, beautiful pocket here. Look at this pocket. That's great job by the O-line. There's your pump fake, which sells it. It's wide open. Trask perhaps a bit nervy here on this pass, wants to let it go. There it is. Not so great. You can see he doesn't love it. Take a look at him. Ooh, I didn't give that enough. Bobbled by Tony. Tony then eventually makes the catch. This, of course, could have been a much better pass. And in fact, if this is a much better pass, this probably takes Florida down 6 or 7 yards closer before Tony goes down. And we're here and not here. So perhaps this will be the lasting memory of Kyle Trask in the swamp, this last play. It's a great play design, great pump fake, great situational design and play. Poor execution there in the throw by Trask. A little bit of a bobble by Tony, who has to go low. It still does, within 21 seconds, put Florida into field goal range for McPherson, who then, of course, misses the kick. Remarkable drive there at the end of the game to get us into position, despite how poor it was all game long, especially by Florida's offensive standards. But again, just kind of another example of how this football team had been playing. We just hadn't put games together, hadn't been in sync. Sort of a reap what you sow situation where eventually these sort of things caught up with us, and Florida falls to LSU again in one of the most shocking, embarrassing, and disappointing losses in the modern era for Florida. A lot of questions need to be asked. There are many, many that need to be asked. Of course, we discussed all of them on the podcast, which you can catch. This film study is to display what happened. The podcast is to discuss what it means, what to do from now, and where really Florida football is headed. Again, as always, I hope you enjoyed this content. This was much more verbose and discussion-oriented than previous ones, largely because there was just so much to discuss with the nature of what Florida was doing tactically, rather than just breaking down the plays and coverages themselves. And again, largely because LSU ran the same base cover package almost the entire game, as you've seen on these film plays. I showed you so many plays just to indicate that. Just very, very surprising, shocking, perhaps better word, day all around for Florida, and a crowning achievement and perhaps season-saving feel-good win for LSU. As always, if you liked this content, like the videos, sub to the channel, check us out, as we mentioned before, on social media. Drop us a dono on Patreon, and send me your feedback. Let me know what you want to see in the future, what you don't want to see, longer, shorter, etc. Again, we do these videos for you. I do these videos for all of you. So let me know, and I will keep bringing you the content that you want. And I'm James for the Gator Nation Football Podcast.